Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Okoski of Funny. I'm back at it once again, kicking it for you and for yours. This video right here is gonna show this Joe Biden speech, and we're gonna compare his speech to other stuff like that on his bill, the 1990. Because he said when you remember the crime bill, remember Joe Biden on his 1994 crime bill. You understand me? And we can compare and see how it the crime bill when you read into it, what you're gonna show it kind of nullifies the Eighth Amendment. You know what I'm saying? It puts some real attachments on it because that it breaks, it breaks some constitutional laws. We won't explain what the Eighth Amendment is just in case you might not know what it is, you know, but we gonna roll into it like that because this is you really gotta listen to what he's saying. It's crazy, it's wild. All right, let's get down to it without further ado.
Must take back the streets. It doesn't matter whether or not the person that is accosting your son or daughter or my son or daughter, my wife, your husband, my mother, your parents. It doesn't matter whether or not they were deprived as a youth. It doesn't matter or not whether or not they had no background that enabled them to have become become socialized into the fabric of society. It doesn't matter whether or not they're the victims of society. The end result is they're about to knock my mother on the head with a lead pipe, shoot my sister, beat up my wife, take on my sons. So I don't want to ask what made them do this. They must take it off the street. That's number one. There's a consensus on that. Unless we do something about that cadre of young people, tens of thousands of them, born out of wedlock, without parents, without supervision, without any structure, without any conscience developing, because they literally, I yield myself 3 more minutes, because they literally have not been socialized. They literally have not had an opportunity. We should focus on them now. If we don't, they will, or a portion of them will, become the predators 15 years from now. Madam President, we have predators on our streets that society has, in fact, in part because of its neglect, created. Again, it does not mean because we created them that we somehow forgive them or do not take them out of society to protect my family and yours from them. They are beyond the pale, many of those people. Beyond the pale. And it's a sad commentary on society. We have no choice to take them out of society. And the truth is, we don't very well know how to rehabilitate them at that point. That's the sad truth. I'm the guy that said rehabilitation, when it occurs, we don't understand it and notice it. And even when we notice it and we know it occurs, we don't know why. So you cannot make rehabilitation a condition for release. That's why in our system, there's the federal system, you serve 85% of your time. It's a shame, but we don't know how to rehabilitate. But there is a consensus, and I will see. A must make the streets safer. I don't care why someone is a malfactor in society. I don't care why someone is antisocial. I don't care why they become a sociopath. We have an obligation to cordon them off from the rest of society, try to help them, try to change the behavior. That's why we do in this bill. We have drug treatment and we have other treatments to try to deal with it. But they are in jail, away from my mother, your husband, our family. But we would be absolutely stupid as a society if we didn't recognize the condition that nurtured those folks still exist, and we must deal with that.
Now, as you can see here, right before you, this is the 1994 Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act of 1994, basically known as the Joe Biden bill. And we're on page 39. I'm gonna leave a link in the description and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? On page 39, section 2411, I think it is, to make sure. 411, a requirement of showing respect to particular prisoners. A federal court, listen now, a federal court should not place a ceiling. A ceiling is, this is how much, you can put in inmates, you can put in a certain prison. On an inmate population of any federal, state, or local detention facility as an equitable remedy measure for conditions that violate the Eighth Amendment, unless crowding is inflicting cruel and unusual punishment on a particular identified prisoner. So they already know they're going to break the Eighth Amendment by doing overcrowding. You know what I'm saying? But let's see what they say what else next. You know what I'm saying? Rule of construction. I'm going to read this. This ain't in paragraph 1. Should not be construed to have any effect on any federal judicial power to issue equitable relief other than described in paragraph 1, including requirement of improved medical or health or imposition of civil contempt fines damages where relief is appropriate. Each federal court order or consent decree seeking to remedy the Eighth Amendment violation shall be open at the behest of a defendant for a recommendation of modification of a minimum of 2-year intervals. Now, they know they had to do overcrowding to get this bill on through, because they was just, like you said, like Joe Biden said, he wanted to, make sure they got treatment, but they got treatment in jail, which is different now from the opioid crisis and stuff like that. But, when it was a health issue. But back then, I can tell you who they was really locking up, and what kind of face they wanted to put on this violent crime control and law enforcement of 1994 violent crime bill, what they want to put on. But as I stated before, the federal court should not place a ceiling on the inmate population. So they knew they was going to be packing people in. You know what I'm saying? That's why they had to start building and making more prisons. You know what I'm saying? As an equitable remedial measure for conditions that violate the Eighth Amendment, unless crowd is inflicting cruel and unusual punishment on a particular identified prisoners. Let's see. What is crowding? Now, this right here, this is a document from the Government Publishing Office. So, it's from the U.S. government. Eighth Amendment, further guarantees in criminal cases. We talk about excessive bail, excessive fine, cruel and unusual punishment, prisons and punishment, and a limitation of clause of criminal punishment. We're going to go to prisons and punishment. Prisons and punishment. It is unquestionable, it's unquestioned that confinement in a prison is a form of punishment subject under the scrutiny under the Eighth Amendment standards. Conditions in a prison must not involve the wanton and unnecessary infliction of pain, nor may be grossly disproportionate to the severity of the crime warranting imprisonment. Conditions alone, or in any combination, may deprive inmates of minimal civilized measure of life necessities. But conditions that cannot be said to be cruel or unusual under contemporary standards are not unconstitutional. To the extent that such conditions are restrictive or even harsh, they are part of the penalty that the criminal offender pays for their offenses against society. These general principles apply to both to the treatment of individuals and the creation or the maintenance of prison conditions that are inhumane to inmates in general. Ordinarily, there is both a subject and objective requirement. Before the conditions of confinement not normally meted out as punishment by a statute or sentencing judge and qualified punishment. So basically what this is saying is that, the conditions in the prison, the overcrowding and stuff like that, which is a condition they knew about, you know what I'm saying? As long as it don't affect unnecessary pain or one-time punishment, they don't care, you know what I'm saying? Until riots pop off and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? But also on a health issue too, there's a lot of MRSA going around there, TB, tuberculosis, being in the crowded conditions and stuff like that. A lot of stuff ain't talked about. So they had to dampen down the Eighth Amendment. It does it a lot in the Joe Biden crime bill. It does a lot of dampen down the Eighth Amendment.
For years, I paid my people extra to do that kind of business. Somebody comes to them and says, I have powders. You put up $3,000-$4,000 investment to make 50,000 distributing. They Can't resist. I want to control it as a business. Keep it respectable. I don't want it near schools. I don't want it sold to children. Infamia. In my city, we would keep the traffic in the dark, people, the colors. Animals anyway, so let them move there.
What was the difference between what Joe Biden was saying and what he just said? You know, you want to lock him up. He used basically cold phrases and stuff like that to speak what he had to say. But it really wasn't no difference in what he had, what that my man right there just said in the Godfather, he ain't my man, but you know. And what Joe Biden just said, he just said it in front of Congress. You know what I'm saying? They knew they had to do overcrowding to get to accelerate to get a lot of people off the streets. You know, basically a genocide. You know what I'm saying? That is a technical condition of genocide. Look it up according to the UN mandate. But Joe Biden is a homicidal maniac, genocidal maniac for that. But you know, like I said before, you know, we're gonna look how they built the prisons. We got the whole thing on here. You know, I'm gonna show some more about the Eighth Amendment, but they talk more about it and stuff like that because that was an important hurdle that they had to get over. You know what I'm saying? And another reason, you look into another presidential candidate on the Democratic side, Kamala Harris, when she had her case when she was prosecutor in California, she didn't want to let them go. You know what I'm saying? She wanted to keep them in lockdown. You know what I'm saying? For the labor of California. Real talk, look that up. I got a video on it. You know what I'm saying? Also, too, I want to say this, too, before I go. I'm not a Russian bot. I'm just up here looking at the situation for what it is. You know what I'm saying? And looking at it with open eyes. You know, just looking at it for what it is. So, you know, if you think this is bad being Russian, I'm just a free independent thinker. No Russian bot. I don't work for no Russia, whatever, whoopty-whoop. So stop with that madness. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, especially people that look like me, got a savior complex or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And let that shit go. Anyway, it's a Koski of Fun Day. Saying peace, much love. You know what I'm saying? And subscribe to the channel, hit the like button. Peace.